cars are also a big factor, and Cliff, you're the car expert. Where are we today with electric cars? People have been working on them for years. How close are they to being a reality that can compete successfully with conventional cars?
Well, I'm excited about the technology that we can bring to bear today. Electric cars, as you say, have been around for a while. I remember projects that were going on in the 1930s when you read back in history. But this is the first point in time where all of the major elements of electric cars are being manufactured today, that your batteries, your motors, and so on and so forth. And this provides us a way to break the mechanical bond that we have in the past with cars.
I think we have a slide that illustrates two types of hybrid cars. Do we have? Okay, so there it is. So these are two types of hybrid cars today. I think they both have gasoline engines and electric motors. One of them, like the Toyota Prius, for example, which is a very popular model, each motor has its own drivetrain, and that's the parallel type and the serial type.
Well, the difference between a parallel, which the Toyota Prius represents, is really you have two systems under the hood. You have both a mechanical engine and transmission, as well as a battery system that recovers energy and puts it back into the propulsion system. Whereas a series hybrid is you have a generator, not necessarily an engine that, as we are accustomed to today, that generates the power for electricity into the batteries, and then the batteries provide the electricity to the electric motors that drive the wheels.
And we have another slide, and this one shows a car that you actually plug into a wall socket. Okay, so there it is.
Those are called plug-in hybrids.
Okay.
Exactly. And to many folks, this represents probably a practical future, near future, because you're able to recharge your car when you come home at night for pennies instead of paying, $4 or $5 a gallon for gas.
Now, it looked like there was something in that picture that was a fuel tank. So does it also uses gasoline?
Well, this particular diagram shows a plug-in hybrid. Your hybrid vehicle has a generator, if you will, and that's normally some type of a small engine, auxiliary power unit, could be a microturbine, that then recharges the system if you run out of battery power.
Now, what are the big obstacles here? My understanding is that the biggest obstacles to electric cars are the size and weight of the battery, the short distance you can travel before you run out of charge, and the long time it takes to recharge once you've run out. How close are we to solving those problems so people will want these cars more than their gas guzzlers?
Given that I've seen a lot of stuff that has happened here in Silicon Valley, in Menlo Park, a company called Modular Systems in particular, other companies that are out there, I think we have the technology at hand. I think the biggest problem is culturally. How did you come to the studio today? Did you drive a car?
I certainly did.
And is it a sedan? Is it a SUV?
Well, it's a sedan.
Okay.
And I was the only person in it. All the other seats were empty.
Exactly. I mean, I came the same way, right? So when you think about it, as Americans, we're teaching the world sort of a bad habit because we drive around in cars with all this parasitic weight, right? The back seat is empty, the trunk is empty. Whereas in India and China today, we can at least provide different alternatives, a modular car system as an example, so that you break the bonds of bad habits.
You mean you remove the back seats when they're not in use? You remove the whole back end of the car?
It's simple physics. If you have a heavier, bigger vehicle, it's going to take more juice, more power to get you from point A to point B. Today, with electric systems, we have the technology that can break the car apart, modularize it, and perhaps you have a two-seater vehicle that you commute to work and back, and then you add on a module, like a van module, to take your family on outings. It's entirely practical today.
Can you do that yourself, or do you have to take it into the shop and you only change it like every year or so?
Well, I've seen systems where you can have quick connects and disconnects where you can add on these modules in a garage in under 5 minutes.
Does it look like China is going to be a major competitor internationally in the auto industry?
I think China and India have the potential to break a paradigm here. There are well over 20 car manufacturers in China. There's about 70 different bus manufacturers and truck manufacturers in China. So you have a huge market, untapped market, first-time buyers, first-time users that are going to make a global impact in the auto industry.
Now, I've heard that there are a lot of new technologies, sort of thinking outside the box, highly experimental, and the government is providing seed money to a lot of them. I read in the paper the other day, Stephen Chu, who's the energy secretary, says the government is going to provide $150 million for all these little startup ideas, and if 1 in 10 pans out, they consider that a success. Do you know what any of these technologies are, or what some of the more promising ones might be?
Well, in the transportation arena, certainly going towards better and better density batteries is a key component of what DOE is funding these days. If you look across different state websites, like Michigan's as an example, they received literally hundreds of millions from the stimulus bill to work on things like batteries.
Yeah.